Asselmoilanen, ongelmatonta organisaatiopsykologiaa. Podcastin tarjoilee henkilöarvioinnin erikoisyritys Asselmointi Oy.
Translating personality tests. Easy as a pie or tricky business? Today we'll talk about translating personality, ability tests, platforms, all what you can imagine with Mikkel Berg Strømstad. Did I destroy your name, Mikkel?
That's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah. Mikkel is very experienced in translating things, and then obviously we have Juho here.
Who also translates things.
Also translates things.
Not very experienced.
Not very experienced.
Or proficient, but likes it.
And doesn't even like it.
No.
Like we've been translating some stuff recently, and it's tedious work. Do you have any funny translation errors, Mikkel, that you want to sort of start out with?
Just in general?
Just in general, when the translation program, you try to translate item response theory and deep L said penis.
I mean, the good thing about those kinds of things is they're not actually customer facing. So the people listening, you don't actually have to read those texts, luckily. However, there's a recurring one. I mean, often when we create things, they are usually in English. And we translate it to whichever language we need, which in my case is Norwegian.
Yeah.
And it's not fun, it's only annoying, but it's what we in Norwegian call anglicisms, which is English expressions, but in Norwegian.
Yeah.
And the constantly annoying thing about this is there's always some guy who will send an email carefully worded saying that I want to let you know that this is not a correct expression in Norwegian. This is an English expression. And I so just feel like saying, but did you understand it? Yeah. Do you know what it means?
Yeah.
Just give it 2 years and it will be part of regular Norwegian.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to say that. Yeah. So you have to be really polite about it.
We were talking about that guy earlier. You can remember 2 episodes ago with Espen. The guy is called Narcissist, who writes you the emails. So if you're thinking of writing us an email, think again. Okay.
I think there are different kind of categories or styles of translating. So obviously if you're translating fine literature, novels or whatever, you really have to kind of think about the how to portray the style and the grace and all the subtle details of the text, for example. But when you're, for example, translating assessments or psychometric tests like we're doing, many times or oftentimes it's more about the clarity and whether you understand something correctly.
Yeah, we have some very specific criteria that we have to meet. So I spoke to a translator. She translates novels from French to Norwegian.
Yeah.
And she said that's like one of the best parts about her job, especially when it comes to novels and fiction, is that she can create her own language.
Okay.
She can sort of try to understand what the writer meant, try to find equivalent or similar words, sort of like to create her own space more or less using language. When translating personality tests, you're not allowed to do that.
No.
So one really important criteria for translating, especially assessments, is the concept of language equivalence. Meaning that the sentence has to be as similar as possible, say, both in English and Norwegian, or in Finnish. You're sort of not allowed to make stuff up or try to word it differently. It has to have like the same character, the same tone, the same everything.
Yeah. Much less liberties.
No liberties. but it's important because especially when assessing people, and I mean, we have to do with consequences.
Yeah.
Do people get the job or not?
Yeah.
Are they treated fairly, which is really important for me, is that people who answer a test in Norwegian has to answer the same test, be judged on the same criteria as someone in English.
Yeah.
They can't get different assessments with different words because, the scoring algorithm is the same.
Yeah.
So having equivalent languages is really, really important. And I just want to convey to the people listening that it's so hard work.
Yeah.
We work so hard when translating in order to be able to treat candidates fairly, regardless of the language that they're answering the test in.
Yeah, good point. I was thinking before here, are people different, you're a psychologist, let's put this way. Are people different when they answer personality test in their native tongue compared when they answer personality test with a foreign language, their second or third language? Does the personality of the individual change depending on what language they use?
Or the test results that you're looking at.
Yes.
This is so interesting. So I don't have... I haven't read any studies for personality tests specifically, but there has been a lot of studies done on interviews.
Okay.
Where they interview especially people who are bilingual in, say, Mandarin, Chinese, and English.
Yep.
That would be people who are Chinese American or Chinese English. And they express a lot of different values based on the language they speak.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
They do, which is fascinating. So, we would expect people to, I'm not sure if behave, but maybe it's go into a different mindset based on the language they are answering in.
That's actually a good point. I think people do even behave differently in different languages. I can sort of see myself behaving differently in English, and I can see Juho being more blunt in English than in Finnish.
Yeah, my vocabulary is much more limited in English, so I have less funny stories to tell.
No, it's true. Yeah,
it's true.
And then sort of I feel also that if you try to do something in Swedish or English, then you lose maybe 20 IQ points. And
At
for
least.
me, and for me, it's sort of very bad because then I have 17 left.
Yeah.
And that's not going to take me very far.
But you're touching into something very important and why it is important to offer assessments in languages that people know, especially their first language.
Yeah.
Because trying to translate stuff in your head is cognitive load. We do perform worse. But there is something as well as it comes to vocabulary. So I speak a bit of Norwegian Sign Language.
Okay.
And because of the way vocabulary works in sign language, people who mostly speak sign language are known for being extremely blunt. Because that's...
So say that again. So people who speak sign language are very blunt.
Yes, and it's because of the language that they speak. So they will not be... one example I got when I took some courses in sign language was a person who communicates in sign language would not be sort of, oh, I can see that maybe you have gained some weight. They'd be like, wow, you gotten fat.
Yeah.
And that is because of the way they use language and vocabulary. It's not because they're rude.
Yeah.
I'm just as rude.
I quite like these people with sign language. Maybe this is the way to go.
Maybe that's your kind of
They're very direct.
mental family.
My kind of people.
Yeah, your people.
They're often direct and very upfront. And I would say also honest.
Yeah.
Asselmoilanen podcastin mahdollistaa Asselmointi Oy. Asselmointi on 2020-luvun henkilöarviointiyritys. Ainoa asia, mitä teemme, ovat arvioinnit. Ne teemme kunnolla, mutta kivasti ja elämänmyönteisesti, ilman pönötystä.
Asselmoinnilla on 4 arvoa. Vahvuuspohjaisuus. Olemme hysteerisen kiinnostuneita ehdokkaiden vahvuuksista. Kantaottavuus. Suosittelemme ehdokkaita asteikolla. Suositellaan tehtävään tai ei suositella tehtävään. Selkeää ja näppärää. Nopeus. Teemme arvioinnit asiakkaan ja ehdokkaan aikataulujen mukaan. Keskimäärin arviointi on valmis 3 vuorokaudessa tilauksesta. Viimeisenä elämänmyönteisyys. Tällaista rentoa meidän kanssa hommailu on, niin kuin täällä radiossakin kuulet.
Kaikki tiedot, hinnat, palvelut ja tilauslomakkeet löydät nettisivuiltamme asselmointi.fi. Mene sinne, emme tuhlaa aikaasi.
Some people deliberately choose to answer a personality test, for example, in a different language, just to trying to impress the assessor or the hiring organization. So let's say someone's native language would be Finnish, they would still complete it in English because they know it might be the working language in a company and they would like to kind of show that, okay, I can do this just as well in English. So having these kind of strange behaviors from the candidates, maybe we should try to instruct them better and provide reasoning why it's a good idea to do it.
But nobody, exactly, because nobody cares, or oftentimes nobody even knows which language you completed the test with.
Yeah.
I mean, that is no way to impress people. And this is a friendly...
I'm pretty impressed.
This is a friendly suggestion from your friendly neighborhood assessment provider. I know that you consume a lot of English-speaking media.
Yeah.
But not all the words you use when you speak English mean what you think they mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is quite important as well. I mean, younger people are exposed to English, at least in Norway, much earlier than when I was a child. But that does not mean that they use the words in the same way a native speaker would.
Yeah.
Sure, and I think sort of we've been here in Norway for a couple of days now, and I think sort of the level of English knowledge and the way people speak English is phenomenal. Like, people are almost native speakers. And your friendly neighborhood assessment provider sounds like a psychopath, to be quite honest. Like, you don't need to underline that it's friendly. So that makes me at least think that it's not very friendly.
Okay, so let's think about this. We're all in the business of assessment and psychometrics. So what kind of proficiency, now it's probably a good time to ask when we're done half of the work, but how proficient and how professional do you have to be, and in what things in order to be able to translate, let's say, a personality test? What kind of competence do you need for that?
Ooh, you're asking a good question. I would have to say that when I identify people to do the translations is actually how many liberties will you take?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, because first and foremost, I mean, the language equivalence, as we talked about, is really, really important.
Yeah.
The test gets worse if it's not equivalent to cross languages. Mm-hmm. Second of all, we don't want people to use idioms or metaphors in the personality questionnaires. Yeah. Because there are several, say, metaphors or similes that people maybe actually don't know what means. There are lots of people in Norway who does not know what the expression "a bear favor" means. I think they know what it means, but it's actually the opposite of what they think it means.
A bear favor, like karhun palvelus in Finnish.
Exactly. Yeah. It's sort of asking a bear for a favor. Yeah. Like killing your goat.
Yeah.
It's a favor that will that won't turn out well, basically. Yeah. But especially younger people use that expression as a huge favor.
Okay. Yeah. Like a bear, big favor. Yeah. Like an elephant. Bear favor, give me an elephant.
But languages also evolve and can change. Like the English words awesome, which initially meant like a bad thing, and now it's like a great thing.
Yeah, or gay, that meant like a happy person.
Yeah.
And still means the same. Bear favor, I thought like that. Bear, like a huge favor. Bear favor.
We should,
like a bear hug. Not like
Thanks, Mikkel. That was actually a great gift from you to us, because we will start to use that.
People will get bear hugs and bear favors
from us. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. But I mean, your question was, how do we determine if people are...
Yeah, who can translate? Yeah, do you have to be like a licensed translator?
Where do you get the license from?
Yeah, and where do I get those?
Where can I buy you want one? I can make one for you. Fair site approved.
Let's print it out.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I may be coming off as a bit not serious about this, but I say you have to be pretty good at both English and whatever language you speak.
Yeah.
I mean, and but all jokes aside, I mean, one quite serious thing we do is that there has to be a second opinion on each question in the questionnaire.
Yeah.
I mean, one person has to do the translation and another person has to review their work, basically.
Yeah.
There are safety nets. There are.
And one thing we found helpful while doing this work is understanding something about the domain or the context that the translation handles, because a word or a phrase could have a different translation.
Yes.
Depending on what is the context, what are we discussing assessments or retail shopping.
Absolutely. And listener, now when you're thinking, so what the hell is Juho talking about? We've been translating Fairsight's personality and ability assessments, platform, everything that you can think of for the last 2 or 3 months. We've been very busy with that. So that's what Juho is talking about. And I've done the translation work for another test provider a long time ago, and there was weird translations that you were talking about, the idioms that you shouldn't be using. There was something I remember that there was in Finnish, it said, you can't pour new wine into old pipes. And people, what the hell does that mean? Like, I don't know what that means. But that was, and people were saying, well, what does this mean?
It was like a literal translation.
It was some German thing. They have like old wine in new pipes or new wine in old pipes. And
then what do? Do you try to find the Finnish equivalent, or do you just write out a huge sentence instead, explaining what it really is?
Well, I think you'd find like what it would be in Finnish, like the.
What would it be in Finnish?
I don't know, because I'd never understood the first idea, and somebody else had translated before me. So we just left it there.
Yeah, another thing that really helped us in this translation of the Fairsight test was that in personality tests, typically nowadays, all the items, so all the questions or statements that you get to answer are related to some measurement factor or so what we found helpful in the process many times was, let's look at which trait or facet are we actually measuring with this statement, and then it kind of was more clear what the actual translation needed to be. So we found that also quite helpful.
Definitely. I mean, certain words in English can mean several different things in Finnish, I assume.
Yeah.
And knowing if we're measuring optimism or calmness or learnability or open to perspectives, it will probably be different words.
Yeah.
It would.
Yeah.
Yeah, the understanding the domain is probably important. And I think
understanding psychometrics.
Yeah.
Also.
And a domain.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were in New Zealand driving the car on one of the sort of free rap podcasts.
Yeah.
You told me that you were translating these medicine labels and medicine instructions, and I've stopped taking all medicine after that. Because I think they're probably all wrong, because I don't think that you understand anything about medicine and drugs.
Cheers.
Cheers. You're welcome.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. And in Australia, sort of that put me something else into my mind. I met a guy who had developed a personality test for Aboriginals. So they're the indigenous people in Australia. And one of the problems is that Aboriginals are often illiterate. They can't read. So you can't write instructions. So it's very difficult when you have to do a computer-based personality test without written instructions or written anything. So he had sort of filmed his hands and was doing all kinds of things. I don't know how it was scored, and it looked very weird. So when are we getting that?
When do you want that? Tell you what, if you can make a proper business case for it, then maybe.
Oh, there's Aboriginals in Australia, and I think he was the only provider. So there you go, there's your business case.
I mean, do we want to take away his monopoly?
Probably, I don't know. Yeah, not sure. Yeah, what did you find most difficult in sort of translating the tests when you've done it? So what was the most difficult and tedious part of it?
You're tapping into something that is really important to me, actually. So I think language is very important. I think through proper language, you can convey that you're trustworthy. And I mean, I try to apply that to my daily life as well. I try to use less English words when speaking, trying to find proper Norwegian words instead. as with every language, aspects of that language are removed because nobody cares anymore.
Yeah.
In Norwegian, there's a difference between the word he and the word him, and that difference will in the near future no longer exist in Norwegian. And I hate that. I like that we have a nice, nuanced language.
Yeah.
But my God, it's so tedious to translate stuff.
So what do you mean? Like, is there not going to be like genders in Norwegian language?
We will have genders, but it's the same as the difference between the word who and the word whom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is the subject and who is the object in the sentence. And in Norwegian, we're moving towards this being provided by context rather than the two different variations of the pronoun.
Yeah.
Same with they and them and she and her, basically. And that difference is sort of being whisked away in Norwegian.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, we don't have genders in the Finnish language. Everybody is han. Like, everybody has the same one gender. And oftentimes, you wouldn't even know, are you talking about a man or a woman? Which makes the world a little bit more equal, because then you can sort of start determining, like we were talking with Espen about psychopaths, and sort of Espen told, not psychopath, narcissists. And Espen told that there's more narcissists that are men than female narcissists.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just the way people see people, that, okay, that's a man with a funny hat, narcissist. That's a female with a funny hat, probably going to go to a horse race in Ascot.
Yeah.
That actually may be, but that actually, my original, like what has been the most difficult with this was like the workload itself. Language is huge and nuanced and difficult. It's so much work. But I changed my mind because you said genders. So, I think using the correct pronouns is important. Yeah. It's important to identify people as what they want to be identified with. Yeah. But I learned something new about certain Eastern European languages.
Okay.
They change words based on if they're talking to someone who's male or someone who is female.
Yeah.
Which means that if we are to provide the tests in those languages, either we have to give them different questionnaires based on their genders, or we would sort of have to go in the forefront and introduce gender-neutral languages to these countries.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited about.
Sounds like a huge project.
Yeah, so
we have to pick several battles.
Yeah.
So Mikkel is going to revolutionize Polish. Thank you for that.
Wouldn't that be cool, though?
You than me, though.
I hope they will erect a statue. That would be cool.
In the previous episode, some of you might remember we were talking with Lasse Hönsen about the role of technology in the world of occupational psychology, and also I would like to address this topic now in this translation of tests episode, in the sense that maybe share some more light on our recent work with Matti. So what we did this time was that we actually applied a 4-step process. The first step was that we used DeepL, a language technology model, to do like this first draft of what the translation would be. Yep. Then the second step was an first expert review. So either me or Matti did the first rewriting of what the translation would be. And then the another one of us, we kind of switched places, and the other one would have their suggestion and make translations. And then as a fourth step, we had a joint discussion about that particular, whether we're happy. And oftentimes, still in that fourth step, it evolved a bit and got a bit better. So this is, first of all, an example of how good work we did, but secondly, maybe an observation of the technology and DeepL in this case. And we also, for reference, used Google Translate at some point and other, just to see how good the technology is. It was quite impressive at times, but at the same time, it was totally clear that you couldn't rely on it.
Yeah.
Totally.
But there was a fifth step as well. We sort of shot everything through Microsoft Words to take out any sort of
spelling mistakes.
Spelling mistakes. So there was still another robot looking through.
That's good. Yeah.
I mean, you asked the question what type of person is suited to do the translations. This is what I want. Second of all, I think what you did with using DeepL is actually really smart because, I mean, translating is so hard work. I would say that the most difficult step or the most tedious step is like the first initial translation.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in nuances and stopping at like the fifth sentence because how do we proceed? And it takes so much time and effort.
Yeah.
Just doing away with the rough work using DeepL, for instance, I think that's a great starting off point.
Yeah.
We're still there where we really need like one or several human touches in order for it to be correct.
Yeah.
Because they're quite often not correct. Like that nobody would say it like that, the sentence that they're spitting out.
Yeah.
But it makes the translation process so much easier. And I think it's allows us to spend more time on what we should spend time on, which is quality assurance.
Yeah.
Ensuring that the translation is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more crafting than creating. And it was interesting to see as well that different AI gave us different translations. Like Google Translate would say one thing, ChatGPT would say another thing, and then DeepL would say a third thing. And then the fourth thing would be actually the most accurate translation.
Yeah.
And still, just by having those suggestions, I mean, it is easier to critique than to create.
Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it makes our jobs easier as well.
Yeah.
Another thing we noticed or discussed actually a lot was when translating these tests was that sometimes we, or mostly me, came up with some kind of nice expression or word in the Finnish language, not in a way influenced by English, very archaic, but at the same time we had to understand that not many people who will be answering these tests are necessarily highly educated or have a large vocabulary so that they would recognize these words. So there was also the aim of simplicity, using the kind of language that would be easy to comprehend for people from all walks of life. And we even had a reference person in mind, but for the sake of not appearing out of line, I won't mention the name of the reference person.
Do you mean the asylum-seeking chef that you were having in mind?
Well, you say that, not me.
Yeah, so that's the language level that we've sort of aimed at. So the chef that's just recently moved into the country can understand what we're asking, which is important because that's our main target group as well.
It is.
It is.
Cheers to them.
Chefs. Yeah, we actually ate really nice dinner yesterday in Norway. So thank you for the chef.
Yeah, in Brasserie Française, something like that. Good French food in middle of Oslo.
Hey, Mikkel, do you miss like real psychologists' work? Like you've been put into this laboratory and asked to translate all kinds of funny things. But wouldn't it just be lovely to talk with people and listen to their worries and solve problems?
Their problems and their worries and things they're struggling with.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's interesting until you say, okay, but let's make a plan to do something about this. And they say no. I just want to talk for 6 more hours.
Exactly.
Then maybe translating stuff isn't so bad. No, I mean I have worked with mental health before. It's rewarding work, but I like numbers and computers and words. I get to work with numbers and computers and words here. Yeah, but I definitely need a break from translating. Again, it's hard work.
It is, and it's important work. I think sort of we are touching hundreds and thousands and hopefully hundreds of thousands of people. And if we sort of mess up in this stage, they'll misunderstand something and then they'll miss out on a job opportunity that might be life-changing. So it is both hard work and also important work, and sort of we shouldn't sort of forget that in our light-hearted podcast.
Yeah, and also what we learned was that, at least for us, because we are not very hardworking people and we get easily overloaded, you could only do so much of translation work per day.
Yeah.
So you can't really kind of budget 8 hours of translating and expect to do it on a daily basis.
No, that's a grim life.
You need
So
breaks.
we did maybe 1 or 2 per day, 1 or 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that was already quite exhausting.
Yeah, and you get attached to your own translations, and then you have to defend them to somebody else who says that you should maybe replace this word with another word. It sort of has also a burden in your emotions.
Yeah, no wonder you spent like 15 minutes on one sentence.
We probably did though, because like you said, there was the 4 steps.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got there stuck and you were looking at this, how could I say this?
But again, I mean, it's as you said, I mean, if we make a mistake, it affects several people who might not get a job. But imagine if you can make a really good translation, a translation that is makes a personality assessment that can be understood by even more people.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine how many more people will get the opportunity to get a job. So, I mean, it's important work, and it's in its own weird sort of way also kind of inspiring.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, sort of Lasse was talking about diversity and inclusion. I think this is a huge point of inclusion, sort of including the people who, like you said, might not have the education to understand your fancy pants translations. So including everybody with a happy assessment feeling family.
Accessible language.
You is wearing a Massachusetts Institute of Technology sweater for the occasion.
Yeah. It's nice that you could pronounce the M word.
Well, M word, like what's the M word? I have an actor in my mind that also has a very famous M word. That's a different word. Hey, anything else you want to add before sort of wrapping it in and then throwing it into the
bin
with Alex? Anything, Mikkel, you want to sort of add? Translating.
I mean, let us know if there are spelling errors. We will correct them on the fly. But at the same time, keep in mind, we spent a lot of time making sure that this personality assessment is accessible to as many people as possible.
Yeah, give us mercy, but give us also feedback and give us our everyday bread.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, for listening. This was Father Mikkel and
Reverend Juho.
Bishop Juho talking about translating assessments. My name is Matti. Cheers. Hey, come back again next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.